Now, Kenya's stock exchange targets about 9 million retail investors in the new year's in the 5-year strategy. Now, the Nairobi Securities Exchange has unveiled its ambitious 5-year strategy that is aimed to attracting 9 million attractive retail investors, that is both domestically and in the diaspora. Now, the plan, which kicked off in February 2024, is part of the broader effort to revitalize, that is, the stock market and boost the participation. Now, Frank Mwiti, the CEO of the NSE, announced the strategy during an appearance on the Trading Bell show. Now, he emphasized, of course, the exchange commitment to mobilizing the retail investors back into the market. Now, this goal is particularly ambitious even the current state of the market, where approximately 97.5% of the 1.5 million accounts used for trading securities, that is including shares, are quite inactive. Now, according to the plans, the NSE plans to modernize its market infrastructure and introduce new initiatives to attract and retain investors. Now, part of the key initiatives include the fractional trading initiative, where the NSE will actually enable the fractional trading, allowing investors to buy portions of shares rather than whole units. Now, this move is expected to lower the barrier to entry for the retail investors with limited capital. That is part of the initiatives. And then the exchange plans to reintroduce new investment products such as the exchange-traded funds, the ETFs, and expand the availability of what we call the single stock trading options. Now, we also see that the NSE will roll out an agency network across Kenya and the broader continent to facilitate what we call the investor onboarding and private support for the new existing market participants. Now, the announcement comes amid the strong rally in Kenya's stock market. Now, investor confidence has been bolstered by the renewed interest from the domestic investors. Now, in 10 months leading up to October 2024, investors at the NSE saw their portfolios grow, that is by about 419.5 billion Kenyan shillings. Now, additionally, the secondary bond market experienced a remarkable turnaround, with a turnover of more than doubling to breach at least the 1 trillion Kenyan shillings. Now, the bond activity at the NSE surged, that is by 139.8% to about 104.4 trillion in 2024. That is up from 644 billion in 2023. So that is the Kenya's stock exchange that is targeting at least 1 million retail investors in the new 5-year strategy. So the CEO of the NSE, like we've seen, announced this strategy, and he emphasized the exchange commitment when it comes to mobilizing the retail investors back to the market. Now, the goal is particularly ambitious given the current state of the market, where approximately 97.5% of the 1.5 million accounts used for trading securities, including shares, are inactive. So that is the huge concern here. Now, in other stories, we take a look at Kenya's forex reserves, which increase on higher inflows and what we call a stable shilling. Now, Kenya's forex reserves increased to their highest in 2025, owing to high dollar inflows from exports as the shilling maintains stability. Now, last week, reserves held by the Central Bank of Kenya increased by about 332 million to bring up to the total of about 9.2 billion dollars. Now, 3.7% increase marked the second consecutive increase in 2025. And that is from the 8.9 billion a week earlier, with the shilling stalling at exactly 129.8 2019. Now, the current reserves are enough to cover the 4.7 months of imports, both falling above the 4 months statutory requirement of the East Africa Community's convergence requirement of about 4.5 months of import cover. Now, according to the Central Bank of Kenya, the current stable reserves are at their highest in the normal terms. Now, having hit a 3-year high in November 2024 to bring the total to about 9.3 billion United States dollars at the time. Now, the usable reserves of the CBK stand at the highest level in nominal terms and were only previously close to 2019 and 2021 after the issuance of some Euro bonds. Now, the central bank governor, that is Kamal Tagi, said on Thursday, this was last week. Now, the CBK expects the forex reserves to increase by at least $1.4 billion in 2025, mainly from the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank disbursements. Now, the United States President, that is Donald Trump's executive order freezing the U.S. foreign aid will actually partly affect the inflows to African economies, that is including Kenya. Now, the CBK governor, however, said he doesn't expect any substantial impact on the exchange rates. Now, earlier, the Finance Cabinet Secretary, that is John Mbadi, said that Kenya had begun talks with the International Monetary Fund for a new lending program as the current program lapses in April 2025. Now, the CBK governor still said that the government was actually keen on the new program after the current one definitely lapses. Now, the level of reserves in 2024 was based on the good performance in the current account. Now, the reserve position continues to be strong, adequate, and sufficient. That is to cover short-term external shocks. This is still according to what Dr. Tagi made in a comment. All right, now let's switch and take a look at what's making headlines beyond the borders of East Africa. Now, as we start off with Africa, now Dangote Oil Refinery to reach the full capacity in about 30 days. Now, according to the reports, Nigeria's Dangote Oil Refinery, the largest in Africa, is said to begin full operations, that is in the next 30 days. Now, it is located in Lagos. Now, the 650,000 barrel per day refinery was built by the Nigerian billionaire, that is Aliko Dangote, and aims to transform the country's energy landscape. This is good news. Now, since starting operations in January last year, the refinery has produced diesel, naphtha, and jet fuel, with petrol production beginning in September this very year. Now, the move is part of Nigeria's strategy to reduce reliance on imported refined product and strengthen its domestic fuel supply. However, securing consistent supply of crude locally has been a challenge for the refinery. Now, once it reaches the full capacity, Dangote's refinery is said to compete with the European refiners and potentially export products across Africa and also beyond. Now, as it continues to ramp up production, the refinery promises to be a game changer that is creating jobs and boosting Nigeria's economy while reducing its fuel imports costs. So that is something coming in there from Africa, from Dangote Oil. And then now crossing over to the United States, Donald Trump finally announces the 25% tariffs on all steel and aluminum imports. Now, President Donald Trump has ordered the 25% import tax on steel and aluminum entering the United States in a major expansion for existing trade barriers. Now, the tariffs, which will actually increase the costs of importing the metals into the United States, came despite the warnings of retaliation. That is from the same political leaders in Canada. Now, this is America's biggest supply of metals, as well as other countries. Now, the United States businesses dependent on the imports have also raised concerns, but Donald Trump has said his plans will boost domestic production. Of course, like many have predicted, some of these tariffs will turn out to be inflationary for the citizens of the United States of America. This is what some of the companies that are importing these, most especially the plants that are relying on imports from countries like Canada as a raw material for the manufacturing process in the domestic industry. So if that is quite expensive, then it's going to make the price of the final goods expensive for the Americans. Now, United States businesses dependent on the imports have also raised concerns, but Donald Trump, like we said, believes that his plans will boost domestic production. Now, he warned that there will be no exceptions, saying he was simplifying the rules, which are set to come into effect on March 4th. Now, this is what he said. This is a big deal. The beginning of making America rich again, Donald Trump said. Our nation requires steel and aluminium to be made in America, not in foreign lands. When asked if tariffs could increase the prices of consumers, the United States responded, ultimately, it will be cheaper. That's according to what he said. He said that it is time for our industries to come back to America. This is the first of many, he added, suggesting other tariffs could focus on pharmaceuticals and other computer chips. Now, the United States is the world's largest importer of steel, counting Canada, Brazil, and Mexico as its top three suppliers. Now, Canada alone accounted for more than 50% of aluminium imported into the United States last year. Now, if the tariffs came into force, they are expected to have the most significant impact on Canada. Now, late on Monday, Canada's Minister of Innovation, that is Francois Philippe, said the tariffs were totally unjustified. Now, the Canadian steel and aluminium support key industries in the United States, in the U.S. from defense, shipbuilding, talking about energy to automotive, and so many more. Now, ahead of the announcement, Ontario Premier, that is Doug Ford, whose province is home to much of Canada's steel production, accused Donald Trump of shifting goalposts and constant chaos, putting our economy at risk. That is what he said. Now, the lobby group for the Canadian steelmakers called the Canadian government to retaliate against the United States immediately, while Cody Blois, a member of parliament from Canada's governing Liberal Party, said his country was looking for ways to reduce its trade relationship with the United States of America. Meanwhile, the share prices of the major steel makers rose on Monday in anticipation of the order, with the price of the Cleveland Cliffs jumping nearly 20%. Nearly 20%. That's how far the prices actually reached. Now, the prices for steel and aluminum also jumped. Now, in response, in much of the rest of the market was muted, reflecting questions about how serious Donald Trump is about his plans, his track record of postponing tariffs or negotiating exemption, that is to the rules. Now, in 2018, during the first term, Donald Trump announced tariffs of 25% of steel and 15% on aluminum, but eventually negotiated carve-outs for many countries, including Australia, Canada, and Mexico, as we see. Now, the United States president said that he was introducing new standards that require steel to be melted and poured and aluminium to be smelted and cast in North America. Now, the spokesperson for Coalition for Prosperous America which presents the steelmakers supports the tariffs, and they say that his group is most concerned about a surge in steel imports from Mexico above the levels agreed in 2019. But he noted that Canada sends so far goods to the United States than it imports. So a trade deficit has actually been a key issue for Donald Trump in this case. So let us see what Trump and his policies will be like for the rest of the globe come 2025, with so far starting the year with lots of controversies that have raised hatred to the various groupings from a global scale on how his policies are definitely the global trade. Allies, trade partners, no one is safe. All right, now as we wind up the international news, let's take a look at Elon Musk. Elon Musk-led group makes a $97.4 billion bid for OpenAI. That is the maker of ChatGPT. Now, a consortium led by Elon Musk said it has offered a $97.4 billion that is to buy the nonprofit that controls the OpenAI. That is months after the billionaire sued the artificial intelligence startup that is to block it from transitioning to a for-profit firm. Now, Musk's bid revealed on Monday could actually ratchet the long-standing tensions between OpenAI CEO, that is Sam Altman, over the future of the startup at the heart of a boom in generative artificial intelligence technology. Now, the two are already embroiled in a lawsuit as Elon Musk criticized, a $500 billion artificial intelligence-led project that was called Stargate, which announced with a great fanfare at the White House just after the United States President Donald Trump returned to office. Now, of course, suggesting that the investors involved lacked the funding for the project. Now, OpenAI, Musk and Musk's lawyer, that is Mark Zuckerberg, and Open Artificial Intelligence, that is Baker, Microsoft, did not immediately respond to the requests for comment from the different news agencies. Now, the bid is being backed by Musk's artificial intelligence company, that is xAI, which could merge with OpenAI following a deal, according to the Wall Street Journal, which first reported Musk's offer earlier, that was on Monday. Now, even without any antitrust implications, a deal this size would actually need Musk and his consortium to raise enormous funds. Now, Open Artificial Intelligence was valued at exactly $157 billion. That is a lot of money. That is in its latest funding round in October, cementing its status as one of the most valuable private companies in the world. Now, SoftBank Group is in talks to lead a funding group of up to $40 billion in OpenAI in evaluation of at least $300 billion. That is including the new funds, this according to what the news is reporting. Now, OpenAI is now trying to transition, that is into a for-profit, that is from non-profit entity, which it says is required to secure the capital needed for developing the best artificial intelligence models, if it is to make that a reality. But of course, we see that Musk's lawsuit against OpenAI and Altman says that the founders originally approached him to fund the nonprofit focused on developing artificial intelligence to benefit humanity, but it has also focused on making money too. You know, that has also been part of the sides that have been discussed about. Well, that is it for now. In case you just joined us all the way from Caribou, East Africa, Kenya Stock Exchange targets at least now 9 million retail investors in its 5 New Year strategy. and of course, still coming in down to Kenya's forex reserves increase. That is on higher inflows, and of course, this has been attributed to the stable shilling. And then coming in from the international side, Donald Trump announces the 25% tariffs on all steel and aluminium imports. And then Dangote, all refinery to reach full capacity in 30 days. And then finally, Elon Musk-led group makes a $97.4 billion bid for Open AI, as we see. Let's get into the break at this point. We'll definitely be returning with our business updates and, of course, further business related stories. Stick around.